Coming up.
Once you're the alumni, we'll rope you in.
They open the gold envelope. Yes, that is a thing.
You love the anonymity of that.
Do you remember that program from school?
You and me and you.
How do you say that?
But I'm throwing you a googly.
Juggling this and shaking that.
And the room is with them.
You have to get the timing wrong.
What genre are we in?
I'm not hearing anything.
Showing off.
Sometimes you just have to, don't you?
That would be a masterclass in editing, if nothing else.
And now, enjoy the podcast.
How do you say that?
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 Hello and welcome to today's episode of How Do You Say That, sponsored by VoxBox, the portable, foldable, storable audio booth. So let me introduce you to Mark Rice.
Hello, Sam. Let me introduce you to Sam Boffin. I'm actually in my VoxBox today, by the way.
You are, aren't you?
Yes.
Impressive. Hello. So every week, Mark and I and a very special guest get together and chat about the world of voiceover.
So if you're a voiceover or a podcaster or a voice director, perhaps, this podcast, well, we're doing it especially for you.
This week's fun fact about Mark is that he's found another confusing word this week.
Oh, I have. In a script this week, I got this from our state-of-the-art wet batch plant. And I have no idea what a wet batch plant. It was about concrete, so I think it's about wet concrete. But a wet batch plant.
I was thinking it was horticultural. There you go, you see, wet batch plant.
And Sam's fun fact is that one of her front teeth is capped after a skipping drama. Oh, this sounds bad.
When I was a little girl at school, I fell over in the playground running and chipped my front teeth, but it was one of my front teeth.
Yep.
And it did that classic thing of going black and, you know. So I lived for years with this flipped tooth that I hated because, of course, it was discoloured. And then it fell out. I got a new tooth, obviously, as you do when you're a kid. And what did I do? I tripped over in the playground in a skipping drama and chipped a great big chip out of the front tooth.
Your mum must have gone mad.
She did. I lived with it for years, chipped, and then eventually as an adult got it capped.
Good Lord.
And of course, we also have a very special guest, voiceover Jonathan Pagden. Hello, Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hello, hello. Or maybe I should say good evening, one and all. That's my normal introduction.
Well, indeed. Absolutely. And Sam, explain why, would you?
Well, Jonathan is one of the very few trying to specialise in something that a lot of voiceovers also do. Vog, or as he calls it, voice presenting. He has been speaking into microphones professionally since 1981 and was one of the first to do corporate Vog as part of the event rather than just as ladies and gentlemen.
If you're confused, Vog is voice of God.
Of course, yes. I could have explained that, couldn't I? Yes.
He specialises in award shows, doing all the tricky bits of the script and keeping things on track while also reacting to anything that happens live. But like any voiceover, he can adapt his tone to suit the situation. It's just that not many voiceovers need the same tones as he does, I guess. Welcome to the podcast, Jonathan. Have you got a fun fact for us?
Thank you very much. Yes, well, my fun fact is more of a fun experience, and I still can't quite believe what I'm about to say, but this did actually happen. In the dark days just before lockdown, before COVID all happened and everything, I found myself sitting for about half an hour with a laptop in the stalls at Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, taking dictation from Sting as he rewrote one of his songs to be a duet between himself and Mark Rylance as the big friendly giant.
Wow.
No.
Which is the sort of thing that your subconscious puts together during the night. But
Yes.
I have a photo to prove it.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
What an experience.
I'm sure Sting doesn't remember it.
I'm sure he does. Now, well, let's have a look at our first script of the show and ask, how do you say that?
How do you say that?
Okay, so this is something that I've done fairly recently.
What is it? What genre are we in?
It's an audio drama.
An audio drama? Oh, I hadn't
Yes.
thought that. Okay.
Had you
so
not?
Can you tell us about the character then?
Oh, okay, yes. She is, well, I won't give it away because there's a twist at the end. But yes, she is just an ordinary woman and she is talking to us and talking us through her life.
Having read through it, I'm getting a touch psychopath.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Or lack of
Okay.
empathy. Maybe.
Okay.
You know, oh, she's not giving anything away, Jonathan.
No
When she
clues.
does this, it's very frustrating. Very frustrating indeed.
But what were you thinking, Jonathan?
looks like a straightforward narration, but I would be interested to know what came next.
Okay.
Or sort of, he was, yeah. Well, without taking away from what the listener is about to hear, something is obviously going to happen next.
Yes, quite, absolutely.
It is a bit from midway through. Well, in fact, it's a bit near the end, actually. But
Okay. Right, well, I'll have a go first, and then Jonathan, and then you can show us what you did, Sam. I'm
Okay.
not quite sure how to approach it, really, but okay. Funny how things work out in the end. The dinner went really well, and bless him, Tom apologised about lying to me. He said he'd been scared by the strength of his feelings for me and needed time away to figure out what he wanted. I thought I'd try cooking oysters to start, and then it was pan-seared pork chops in a creamy sauce, followed by chocolate cheesecake. I had to buy that, though. We sat chatting afterwards, but then he had to leave because he was feeling queasy. The last I heard, he was in hospital on a drip, and they called me and asked me what we'd had for dinner.
Nice. Very natural. I like the fact that you adapted at the end of the first paragraph, as it were.
Yeah. Could hear the quote marks.
Yeah. Hear him moaning about it.
Yes, exactly.
It began as internal monologue.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
And I'm not sure that's correct, but that's where I pitched it.
Yes, I see that now. I can hear that now in the way that you delivered it. It was almost like you was, speaking out loud, voicing your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like
Yes.
you were voicing a diary.
Yes, that does work, actually.
I was thinking Dear Diary as well.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to have to think of something else. It sounds like it's somebody reading from their own diary.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. I hadn't quite looked at it like that, but yes, indeed. Jonathan, would you like a go?
I'll have a go, by all means. So scrapping the idea of Dear Diary, do you want me to tell you how I'm thinking first, or do you want to try and work it out?
No, do it, and then
No,
we'll
do
work
it,
it out.
and then
Yeah,
we'll-
we'll try and
Okay.
work it out.
Right then, here we go. Funny how things work out in the end. The dinner went really well, and bless him, Tom apologised about lying to me. He said he'd been scared by the strength of his feelings for me and needed time away to figure out what he wanted. I thought I'd try cooking oysters to start, and then it was pan-seared pork chops in a creamy sauce, followed by chocolate cheesecake. I had to buy that, though. We sat chatting afterwards, but he had to leave because he was feeling queasy. The last I heard, he was in hospital on a drip, and they called me and asked me what we'd had for dinner.
Nice. You knew you were talking to someone, weren't you?
Yeah, I kind of got audiobook a little bit from that.
Yeah.
I was
Partly.
sort of visualising two best female friends sitting in a coffee shop over a medium latte, and she's telling her best female friend how it went the night before, or 2 days before, or since the last time they met.
That does work. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, you're going to say she's in the police station now, aren't you?
Well,
This
It's
is a true
a post-
statement.
it's post police station, a long way post police station.
Oh, is it in
Like
court?
in court?
So, no, it's a long way
Oh.
post court,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
I suppose from the off, you probably know she's talking to somebody in authority. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
Okay, I got
Yeah.
it completely wrong then.
Well, no, it still works in the way that you were doing it because, she's definitely talking out loud to somebody as opposed to an internal monologue. actually,
Yeah, quite.
Interestingly.
Quite.
I get the feeling that it's a long way into the statement, interview, whatever,
It
because
is.
she's got confiding. So in terms
Yes.
of a book, it would be a long way into the chapter, and she's been talking for a long time.
And arguably, that first line, funny how things work out in the end. She's been
Yes.
explaining.
She's obviously said an awful
before
lot.
that.
Or,
Yeah.
or the person she's talking to knows an awful lot of the backstory, whether they've just been told or
Yeah,
not.
indeed. Oh, Sam, show us. I'm
Yes.
really
All right,
keen to
all right.
hear it.
Okay. Funny how things work out in the end. The dinner went really well, and bless him, Tom apologised about lying to me. He said he'd been scared by the strength of his feelings for me and needed time away to figure out what he wanted. I thought I'd try cooking oysters to start. Then it was pan-seared pork chops in a creamy sauce, followed by chocolate cheesecake. I had to buy that, though. We sat chatting afterwards, but He had to leave because he was feeling queasy. The last I heard, he was in hospital on a drip, and they called me and asked me what we'd had for dinner.
I just get talking heads.
Sort
Completely,
of.
and partly out of the characterization there, but beautiful and one of those things that's really easy to listen to because you are following the story from a fully rounded person.
The other thing I noticed that in the third sentence where he said he had been scared, we all three of us said he said he'd been scared. We all did the contraction because that's the feel of it.
Yeah.
Nobody would actually say he had been scared unless they were denying that he'd been scared.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And we do automatically, contract those things. I suppose it's funny. Contractions are easy to say, but the full word without putting apostrophes in is easier to write down.
Yeah,
so
absolutely
I suppose
right.
that's why it happens.
Yeah.
But it is. It's the classic conundrum between written English and spoken English anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a reminder that these are real scripts we've been working on, but we have changed some of the names and some of the details to avoid copyright issues.
So, Jonathan, tell us a bit about your script.
Well, mine is a real-life example, but anonymised, from an awards show that I did earlier this year. And just to put it into context, this is what I would do during the grab and grin. So the presenter on stage, me being off stage, usually at the back of the room next to the show director, the presenter on stage will have said the next award is for Newcomer of the Year, and here is somebody from the sponsors to announce the award. Somebody comes up, they open the gold envelope, yes, that is a thing, and they basically read just the name. So what I am doing is filling that gap. And it's surprising actually how many event producers don't realise that that's why I'm there. One of the main reasons why I'm there is because there's nothing else happening.
Yeah. And once the applause is dying, it feels really lonely, doesn't it?
It can do, yes. So then you've got the presenter and the sponsor standing there on the stage doing nothing apart from waiting for this person to reach the stage, which if they've come with a tableful from their company and hugged every member of their company on the way, could be quite a long time.
Yeah.
But it's not a fixed time. So sometimes I get a lot more than what I'm about to say, but I have to do it with one eye on the stage.
So you're subbing on the fly.
I am absolutely subbing on the fly, and if I've written it myself, I will put in several cut points so that I can stop at any moment.
Amazing.
The main thing being that I always finish with the name and the name of the trophy. In either order.
Having done both live and recorded myself, Jonathan, there's a massive difference actually in the feel and the tone of live versus what you create for a recorded one.
Totally. And I can sit here in my studio and put myself in the position of being at the back of a big room and or on the balcony at the Grosvenor House or wherever and see it happening in front of me. But I still won't get the tone because I'm reacting to the music. I'm reacting to the applause.
Of course.
If in a different part of the awards, if I've read the list of nominees for the award, then sometimes a nominee will get an extra loud cheer and a round of applause because they brought 30 of their colleagues with them.
Yeah.
And I can pause and ride that and then say something like, popular choice, and then carry on. And you don't get that.
Of course.
It's impossible to measure it, but you don't get that feeling if it's pre-recorded.
So it presumably needs quite a bit of welly.
Yeah, it needs to be fast and enthusiastic. In the situation that I would do it, it needs to be fast and enthusiastic, but still clear and precise.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Okay. Here's what the judges said. Louisa has shown that passion, enthusiasm, and a willingness to take a chance really does pay off. Her marketing flex and approach has seen some very impressive results, and she has clearly made a big impact within the MegaCorp Group team. That's why Louisa James of MegaCorp Group is now the proud owner of the Newcomer of the Year Marketing Trophy.
Nice. I still would have said bigger, Jonathan, would you?
Yes, bigger and even faster.
Yeah.
Because remember that you've got several hundred people listening to it. They're probably not listening to what you're saying because they're taking the chance to fill their glasses up and carry on the conversation they were having earlier.
It's the depressing bit of it, isn't it?
I have to confess, I have only ever done Vogue Live. I've never, ever, ever pre-recorded it. So I think it's really difficult to do it without being part of the...
Oh, it is.
Personally, I mean, I know you guys
totally
know what you're
agree. It is
doing,
difficult. It is much more difficult. Yeah.
This is not something that I do habitually by any stretch of the imagination. So I think it's probably easier if you do a lot. Well, easier if you do a lot of it to be able to gauge. But I find it very difficult to gauge in my booth how much I would have to give to that. That felt uncomfortably large to me.
Yes, but it didn't sound it.
I'm fully aware that I would have given it much more welly because I do a lot of introduction stuff on stages, for instance, live on stage. I do a lot of introducing of things, and of course then I'm probably much, much bigger than that.
Just as an interesting side thought to that, the guy I know best who also does live Vogs, and we swap jobs when we're double booked a lot in both directions, he's an actor as well in his day job, and he doesn't wear headphones or cans or anything like that. Even at the back of the room, he talks into the mic and likes to hear himself booming back through the PA. I don't sound like myself to myself if I'm not hearing myself back into cans. So I take my own preamp and my own headset to an awards show just so that I can hear myself as I'm used to hearing myself. And it's just a difference in the preference is all it is.
I'm with your friend, Jonathan. I'm the opposite of you. I prefer to hear it booming back. I can hear how it sounds in the room, and that's what I'm used to hearing when I do Voice of God jobs.
I will always also have my own mute switch so that I'm not at the mercy of the sound engineer.
Oh, that's very useful.
In a reflex action cutting me at the end of the previous one. Yeah, so I start talking and nobody can hear me, and then I fade in halfway through the sentence.
Yeah.
Not good. So I've taken steps to get round that as well.
Right. I suppose I ought to have a go at this then.
Have a go, Mark.
Okay. Now, because I'm in the Vox box and because I'm with my travel mic and I don't know the proximity of this mic quite as well as I know the one in my booth, I'm just going to back off a little bit more than I ordinarily would, I think. Here's what the judges said. Louisa has shown that passion, enthusiasm, and a willingness to take a chance really does pay off. Her marketing flex and approach has seen some very impressive results, and she has clearly made a big impact within the MegaCorp Group team. That's why Louisa James of MegaCorp Group is now the proud holder of the Newcomer of the Year Marketing Trophy.
Wow.
It's almost shouting, and it needs to be, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, amazing.
Sam's lost for words.
I'm not. I think I've literally been sitting here listening to the two of you talk about it and realizing that this is not a comfortable place for me at all. It's really interesting, actually, because I just curl up with the idea of doing this sort of thing.
Really?
I don't mind doing it live, funnily enough, on a stage or something. But just the idea of doing this makes me... Yeah, it's very, I don't know why.
Yeah.
We've all been to those do's where this sort of thing happens, and it seems straightforward, and it's so not straightforward.
No. Jonathan, let's hear how you did it,
absolutely.
shall we?
Okay, I'll do my best. I'm going to move back a bit because otherwise I don't want to break the mic. Here's what the judges said. Louisa has shown that passion, enthusiasm and a willingness to take a chance really does pay off. Her marketing flex and approach has seen some very impressive results, and she's clearly made a big impact within the MegaCorp Group team. That's why Louisa James of MegaCorp Group is now the proud holder of the Newcomer of the Year Marketing Trophy.
Amazing. I mean, just super. I was just in my head doing a quick wave with my hand because there's a really natural rhythm to it. But you had a beaming smile there as well. The joy was coming out.
Yes, I hope so, because the person I'm talking about has just had one of the highlights of their life.
Too right. And the room is with them.
Yes, exactly. Apart from the people who were also on the list and didn't get
didn't win.
That small majority of people are going, everybody else is saying, yeah, go Louisa.
Yeah, there was a real warmth to it as well. I thought the whole sort of approach to it, and you did something unusual. I thought at the end, you managed to make that Newcomer of the Year Marketing Trophy sound the trophy part, which could have gone kind of real. Whoa, trophy sort of thing. It felt really really warm. I couldn't think of any other way of saying it. That's great.
That's because the word trophy is actually an add-on to the end. So the name of the trophy is Newcomer of the Year -marketing.
Yes, that's what you did. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Which is why on the script that you're no doubt looking at, that is in capitals.
And
the word trophy is in lowercase, just to remind me of that.
That makes such a difference
Perfect sense.
to the delivery of that, doesn't it? Not adding that on to Newcomer of the Year Marketing Trophy, but Newcomer of the Year Marketing Trophy. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, now it's time for the wild card. Jonathan, can you pick one of the scripts for Sam or me and give us a new direction in which to do it, please?
Okay, I'll give it the genre first because it would. I could see it being quite entertaining in either of the scripts. But Sam, I'd like you to do film noir, as in think Humphrey Bogart wearing a trench coat in a black and white film, and do script one like that.
I think it works brilliantly with script one. I think that falls into it quite nicely.
That's what I thought.
I don't know do we want American? Film noir,
having heard you do American, I think you could do that really easily, Sam.
Maybe. I'm funny how things work out there. I might not do it American. Actually, I might try and do. Can we do film noir as Brit?
Yeah.
Don't Bogart wearing a trench coat.
All you must not do, Sam, is decide halfway through that you're not going to be American.
Yes, I think I've done that before.
We have
you
had
know
that
me
before.
So well. You know me so well. Okay. Funny how things work out in the end. The dinner went really well, and bless him, Tom apologised about lying to me. He said he'd been scared by the strength of his feelings for me and needed time away to figure out what he wanted. I thought I'd try cooking oysters to start, and then it was pan-seared pork chops in a creamy sauce followed by chocolate cheesecake. I had to buy that, though. We sat chatting afterwards, but he had to leave because he was feeling queasy. The last I heard, he was in hospital on a drip, and they called me and asked me what we'd had for dinner. I don't know. I kind of feel as though...
Right at the beginning, not going to do American, and then you did.
Did I do American?
Yeah,
that wasn't
pretty much
American.
all the way through. Yeah. Or certainly mid-Atlantic.
That was not my American.
No, maybe not. But it was definitely mid-Atlantic. You go with the losing the
I
ends
would
of
have gone
words.
funny
and
how
just
things work out in the end. The dinner went really well, and bless him, Tom apologised.
Yeah.
No, that would be American.
So softer than that, but it definitely was on that recoil.
It was.
Maybe you're just then. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you have proved that it's not possible to do film noir and not do American.
Maybe so.
Yeah. I don't know. It was
nice, and it was absolutely film noir. It was
really.
I could see it in black and white. I could see what was being said. I could see the various different things you were describing.
Yeah, the rain-soaked streets of New York.
Yeah, I think the only time asked me, I think I had something like that, or asked me what we'd have for dinner.
You go back and listen to that, Sam, and you'll see what I mean.
Okay, I take your word for it.
Interesting. All right, Jonathan, I've got one for you now. Now, because obviously you're known for the big voice of God, I'm going to go the other way for you. I am going to get you to do your script, so your voice of God script, but I would like you to be a gentle, kindly older dog thinking to itself while having a bit of a scratch.
That's very specific.
Well, I just an older dog, but an older dog is thinking this to itself. So internally for the dog, but very much I would like him to have a bit of a scratch in there as well.
Right. Okay then. Here's what the judges said. Louisa has shown that passion, enthusiasm, and a willingness to take a chance really does pay off. Her marketing flex and approach have seen some very impressive results. And she's clearly made a big impact within the MegaCorp Group team. So, that's why Louisa James of MegaCorp Group is now the proud holder of the Newcomer of the Year Marketing Trophy. Was that a fluke?
I got the scratching just towards the end. I got the scratching. It was like probably behind the ear with the back leg. Yeah, very much.
Yes, and a bit of back stretching as well.
Could you see yourself kind of reclining in your basket there?
Yeah, well, funny, I know it's not the same animal, but I had sort of bagpuss in my mind.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah, and actually that
For a
works
listener
really
of a certain age.
Yeah,
Yes.
quite, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that.
I like that. It kind of had a very laid back quality. So
Very
very
laid back.
different from what you'd had to do before.
It wouldn't work over music and applause.
No,
No.
but yet you kept it very much as your voice. It was very much casting director that would have cast. They wanted your voices. That you didn't try and change the timbre of your voice particularly.
Well, that's interesting because once again I come back to the theme that I am not a voiceover. I'm certainly not a voice actor.
Okay,
And that's another different thing.
Yeah, and I think it is interesting. I was having this conversation with somebody only today. We often feel the need to say that we can kind of almost do anything. Anything and everything we say as voices. I can do this and this and this, and actually it's not the case really. Our different skill sets lend our voice to different aspects of the industry, and I think that's no bad thing.
No,
to know that some people will always do X better than
and as Jonathan says, he specialises in the voice of God
Absolutely.
because not everybody's doing it. Exactly right.
But we're all busy thinking, oh God, if we say we can't do X or Y, or that we're better at this, then we'll never get booked again. But it's not true.
No,
we don't have to be all things to all people.
Sort of better to say, it's not really me, I've done that and and it wasn't terribly good, rather than have a go and then it not be terribly good.
Yes,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Nothing worse than letting someone down on a job. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or finding out that they went with somebody else in the end.
Yeah. Yes.
Because they didn't like what you did.
Yeah.
And didn't tell you.
And they
Yeah.
were too polite to say so.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed,
gutting.
indeed. Right, Sam, I guess you've got to pick one for me.
I will. I'm going to pick script 2. You're going to be
Okay.
a celebrity chef. And as a celebrity chef, you have your own Sunday morning show. And you're cooking up a storm.
For script 2.
Script 2. I know you'd have expected it to be script 1. But
I was
I'm
expecting
throwing
script
you a
one.
googly.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Okay, all right then. Well, over at the Hob, here's what the judges said. Louisa has shown passion, enthusiasm, that in there, a willingness to take a chance to really pay off. Oh, her marketing flex and approach is very impressive. Look at this, very impressive results. And she's clearly made a big cake within the MegaCorp Group team. Look at this. And that's why Louisa James of MegaCorp Group is the very proud holder of the Newcomer Cake of the Year trophy.
Lovely.
Straight from the
I took a little bit of academic license there.
I love the fact that you actually had a minion. I love the fact that you actually got someone else to sort of put it in the pan or whatever you were doing.
Yeah.
Go on, put it in there, love, at the beginning. As
they do on Saturday Kitchen sometimes.
Exactly. That's the sort of celebrity cook you are.
That sounded very like a MasterChef voiceover, actually.
I could feel the pan. Did you have a pan in your hand?
Yes, I did indeed.
Yeah, I thought you
halfway
did.
through, I had a mixing bowl. In fact, halfway through. But
Wow.
Yeah, and you're running backwards and forwards behind the island.
Yes.
which is
Yes.
between you and the camera.
Totally.
Yeah, and
Totally.
juggling this and shaking that and
It's exactly that.
and talking while you do it. Yeah.
Well, as always, we've put the scripts in the show notes so you can have a try yourself.
Yes. So our question this week, I want to know the answer to this. So, Jonathan, what is your favourite part of a Vogue gig? The voicing or the liveness, the excitement of the whole evening, the working with the team? What's your favourite part of it?
I think I have two favourite parts, and they're both at the end. One is
The
getting
paycheck.
No,
Sorry.
not quite that near the end. Getting to the end of the scripted bit of the show, at which I will normally say, "Can we have all the winners back to the stage for a group photo? Everybody else, the bar is open." But I get a good feeling when I get to that stage and it's all gone fine and I haven't stumbled over any words and I don't have that horrible feeling of what did I say there and so on. I'm sure I got the script right. But my other, slightly more frivolous favourite bit is being able to talk to all these people all evening and then put my coat on and walk right through them and nobody even looks at me.
Oh, wow. You love the anonymity of that.
I do.
Oh, that's exciting. I'd want to get to the bar and chat. No.
I was going to say, yeah, Sam, you'd be ordering that gin and tonic and chatting to all the winners, wouldn't you?
Well, there's another big difference between that and recording an audiobook or a commercial or a documentary or anything like that, you don't get the chance to hear it back. I'm never going to know what they made of it because what they made of it has just happened.
Although, to be fair, a lot of them record them and put them on YouTube these days.
Oh, they do. Yes, I've had it happen where I've sort of looked at an awards show on YouTube and thinking, oh, that's a good one.
Sounds familiar.
I wonder if they had a voice of God, and then I realised it was me.
It was you.
Yeah, that has happened.
And do you love the setup of it? I imagine the rehearsal part of it, presumably you get there, you don't just rock up and do it at 8 o'clock at night. You presumably have a whole sort of, tech setup.
Generally, the crew is setting up from about 7 a.m. and I'm there usually at about 3 p.m. for a rehearsal at 4 or something like that. And it has been known for us to do a full word-for-word rehearsal, but for me to be told not to mention any of the winners' names. Because you never know who might be listening.
Of course. Yep.
Which is where my bizarre but definite capability to remember the names of the Leeds United football team from 1974 comes in quite handy. It's the only time it does come in handy.
You sub the team in, that's so cool.
Yeah, I can do so. The winner of the Newcomer of the Year is Paul Reaney.
But it must be the rehearsal bit must be such fun actually because it warms you up. But that must be a really fun. I would find that a really fun part of it because it's low stakes but fun times.
I'm not sure if the warming up comes into it because generally the rehearsal is about 4 or 5 hours before the actual show.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah.
And it's very different as well, Jonathan, because the atmosphere is dead in comparison to the fact that you've got the music and you've got all the applause and whatever. When there's 3 people applauding in the room.
Yeah.
Yes.
To try and get the rehearsal going, it's not quite the same, is it?
Yeah, and I have to say that a full word by word rehearsal all the way through from the beginning is a very rare event.
Right.
Sometimes it's more of a sound check.
Yeah.
Well, you see, speaking as an actor, I actually like the rehearsal period more than I do the performance. So there you go. But it's that's the bit that I get excited about because it's low stakes. I don't like high stakes. So thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you for coming on our podcast.
I hope you've enjoyed it.
It's been a privilege and a pleasure.
And a reminder that all of Jonathan Pagden's details can be found in the show notes.
Yes, and of course, all the scripts are there as well. Do like and subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, please.
Okay, so that is it for this week. Thanks again to Jonathan, and we will be back next week with more scripts and another voiceover guest when we'll be asking all together now. How do you say that?
Oh dear. Do you deliberately do the timing wrongly just to make it wrong? Yes, I thought you might.
How do you say that?